Hello everyone. This video presents a notable event that happened on each day from the past week in history. On September 8th, 2016, NASA launched its OSIRIS-REx mission to near-Earth asteroid 101955 Bennu with the goal of returning to Earth with a sample of the asteroid. The sample size is to be at least 2.1 ounces. The sample is to be returned to the Earth about September 24, 2023. The rendezvous with the asteroid took place in 2018, and the sample was not collected until October of 2020 when the spacecraft made a landing on the space rock. Despite mechanical difficulty, a sample between 400 and 1,000 grams was collected. NASA hopes to find clues to the origin of our solar system and to the building blocks of life on Earth. Cost of the project is about $800 million for the OSIRIS-REx and another $183.5 million for the Atlas V launch rocket. Is the space program worth the cost? On September 9, 1972, an exploration team mapping the Mammoth Cave system in Kentucky discovered that the Mammoth Cave system was linked to the Flint Ridge Cave network, making it the longest cave passageway in the world. Upon the discovery by the Cave Research Foundation team, the entire cave system is now known as the Mammoth Flint Ridge Cave System. In fact, the Flint Ridge portion is even longer than the part previously just called Mammoth Cave. A 52,830-acre national park since 1941, the caves boast over 426 miles of surveyed passages, 1.5 times the length of the number 2 cave system, an underwater cave system in Mexico. About 500,000 tourists visit the Mammoth Cave National Park each year. As a question for my students and subscribers, what is your favorite cave you have visited? On September 10, 1977, a Tunisian-French landscaper and pimp became the last person executed by guillotine in France and the last person executed for a crime in Western Europe. As the civilized world moved away from the death penalty, a furious debate about capital punishment has raged, with nearly half of the United States abolishing it altogether. Today, 27 states, the federal government, and American Samoa retain capital punishment as a potential sentence, while in Europe only Belarus and Russia retain capital punishment. American neighbors Canada and Mexico have abolished the death penalty, as have most of South America and Australia. China, India, Japan, and many Muslim countries retain the ultimate sentence. The troubling part is that in the U.S., since 1972, at least 190 people sentenced to death have been found to be innocent. On September 11, 1941, aviator Charles Lindbergh delivered a speech for the America First Committee in Des Moines, Iowa, in which he claimed the U.S. was being coerced into World War II, alleging that the British, the Jewish, and the Roosevelt administration were pressing this country toward war. Having become a celebrity and American hero by becoming the first pilot to fly non-stop solo across the Atlantic in 1927, Lindbergh was a popular figure. Unfortunately, he had political leanings that included anti-British and anti-Jewish sentiments while openly admiring Germany. An anti-communist, Lindbergh echoed contemporary German ideology by espousing eugenics and the superiority of the Nordic race. He was ardently against U.S. involvement in the European War and touted isolationism. Once the U.S. entered World War II, Lindbergh proved to be a patriot and tried to get reinstated into the U.S. Army. On September 12, 1992, NASA launched mission STS-47, an historic flight of Space Shuttle Endeavour. Among the notable facts about this particular flight is that this mission marked the 50th Space Shuttle flight. Another first was the first African-American woman in space, May Carol Jameson. Mamoru Mori became the first ever Japanese astronaut aboard a U.S. spacecraft, and the first married couple to be together in space happened when Mark Lee and Jan Davis made the spaceflight as crew members. Endeavour made a total of 25 successful space flights from 1992 until retirement in 2011. A total of 5 reusable space shuttles were used in the program, with 135 missions flown between them. Sadly, Columbia and Challenger were lost with their entire crews before the other 3 ships were retired. Would you like to make a space flight? On September 13th, 1987, two thieves took advantage of a guard being absent from an abandoned Brazilian hospital site to help themselves to whatever they could scavenge. The men made the blunder of taking a 3.3-ounce capsule of cesium chloride, a highly radioactive substance used in radiation therapy. The same night of the theft, the thieves exhibited signs of radiation poisoning. Visiting a local clinic, they were diagnosed with radiation sickness. About 3 days after the theft, the thieves opened the capsule and picked out some of the glowing blue substance inside. The thieves sold their loot to a scrapyard where the cesium chloride continued to affect numerous people. In all, 249 people ended up contaminated from the radioactive gunk, and 4 of those died. Others suffered amputations and other ill effects. Over 100,000 people were tested for radiation exposure. On September 14, 1984, retired USAF Colonel Joseph Kittinger made aviation history by becoming the first person to pilot a gas balloon solo across the Atlantic. Kittinger scored other aviation firsts when he made the then record high-altitude skydive 102,800 feet in 1960, a record that stood until 2012. Kittinger flew 483 combat missions in Vietnam, including being shot down and captured in 1972. Kittinger had also previously set altitude records for balloon flight, and on one of those high-altitude flights became the first human to view the curvature of the Earth fully. Not one to retire early, Kittinger at the age of 84 in 2012 served as a capsule communicator for Felix Baumgartner's record skydive and the Red Bull Stratos project. As a question for my students and subscribers, which event from this past week in history would you most like to learn more about? Please let me know in the comment section below this video. If you liked this video and would like to receive notification of new videos, please feel welcome to subscribe to History and Headlines and become one of our patrons. Your viewership is much appreciated. For image, audio, and other credits and attributions for components of the individual videos in this compilation, please see the descriptions of their respective videos, which are linked to in this video's description.